This Caribbean nation is way more than just beaches. For many years, I thought the Caribbean was just a destination for beach lovers, rum drinkers, and the ultra-wealthy. How wrong I was. With its unique carnival culture and massive nutmeg industry, to the underwater sculpture park and the surprising connection to Scotland. This country made me reevaluate things. If you haven't worked it out already, I'm talking about Grenada. And no, not Granada, like the city in Spain. The country of Grenada is made up of 3 large islands and over 20 smaller ones. The largest 3 being Petit-Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada, the biggest island and the country's namesake. My first trip to Grenada in early 2019 happened to coincide with Grenadian Independence Day. Today is Independence Day in Grenada. Within hours of landing, I was thrown into the celebrations at the National Stadium, where I ended up playing the bagpipes in the car park. Not the most glamorous of first piping spots, but it did allow me to meet this lot, the Shortneys, who gave me a super interesting insight into Grenadian carnival culture. According to Grenada's tourism authority, there are 2 main carnivals across the year, one on the island of Grenada and the other on Carriacou. Both carnivals are packed with music, colour and dances linked to the country's African, European and Caribbean heritage. To top it off, each carnival has its own icons, such as these Shortneys here, who are unique in their songs, marches and what they wear. Apart from Independence Day, I didn't have too much time on Grenada Island itself, but I did get to enjoy some of its world-famous beaches. Grandance Beach being one of them, which is a great place for a sundowner and for a few tunes. An easy 90-minute boat journey from St George's, Grenada's capital, and you're on the island of Carriacou. Thanks to Carriacou and Petit-Martinique's tourism authority, I was given a complete rundown of the extraordinary history of these islands. In a nutshell, it's believed that the original settlers of Carriacou and its neighbouring islands were Arawak-speaking Amerindians from South America. Many years later, the French and British arrived, who fought over the islands and colonised them. The British then remained until independence in the 1970s. Both colonisers were heavily involved in the slave trade, which has resulted in much of Carriacou's population having West African heritage. The colonisation also resulted in a small population of Scottish settlers, who brought with them boat-building techniques that still live on to this day. The village of Windward here is where Carriacou's people of Scottish ancestry are concentrated, so it's not uncommon to meet someone with a super Scottish surname. If you're lucky enough to get here, you might also bump into one of the last traditional boat builders of these islands. Whether you've got European, West African or even South Asian heritage, if you're from Carriacou, supposedly you're called a kayak. And it was thanks to this kayak here, Lennox, that I was given a morning touring of Carriacou, which ended up with a bagpipe boogie session overlooking Carriacou's largest town. My last day in Carriacou, I still hadn't worked out how I was getting to my next country, which wasn't ideal. You see, the problem is, in the Eastern Caribbean, there aren't that many public ferries connecting the individual nations. Luckily, though, I was told to connect with a musician called Barracuda, who ended up creating the solution. That evening, just after sunset, I turned up to Barracuda's beachside bar, kilted up with my bagpipes in hand, and a couple of minutes later, we were attempting a bit of a bagpipe duet. Before the night was out, someone had offered me a lift on their actual boat to St Vincent and the Grenadines, my next country. Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique, you were officially country number 91. I can't speak about Grenada without mentioning a little bit about spices. After all, it is nicknamed Spice of the Caribbean, or the Spice Isle. The reason for this, though, is because of its massive spice industry. Not just any spice, though, nutmeg. Grenada is one of the largest producers of nutmeg in the world. Yes, the world. So spicy is this nation that one of its main festivals / carnivals is literally called Spice Mass. To top it off, there's even a little nutmeg on its national flag.